Hey, this is Matt Hart from London, UK. You're listening to Void Signal with Brian McClelland.
Let me check your volume here. Let's see. All right. Do I sound okay? Like pretty clear and.
Yeah, you sound really crisp.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna stop working as well because like I can't. I've tried to like, if I fall down the hole of like looking at stuff on the internet while I'm on the interview, I'll forget what I'm talking about and.
Yeah, I don't think I can code and podcast at the same time.
Yeah, it goes poorly when you...
I'm not that good at focusing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not great at focusing at the best of times, to be real.
Right. No, agree. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. But, yeah, so, what's up, man? It's good to talk to you. I'm glad that we...
Yeah, super fucking good to chat.
Yeah, I'm glad that it finally worked out.
Me too, man.
But yeah, thanks for your patience. I mean, you know, shit gets messed up. But
well, I just like
yeah.
I have like years of stories about shit getting messed up. Eric and I basically like hauled him up here from the States to Canada and then moved provinces. Like basically did an interstate move.
Right.
So we've been like 4 months of basically like, yeah, lol, our schedule was fucked.
Right, sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, moving is never fun. I mean, I've moved across the United States like a couple of times, and it's, I mean, just the logistics of it, and then yeah, but I'm sure you're familiar with how quickly and how badly shit can go, but
it's a massive undertaking, and for bonus points here in Canada, I mean, the good news is healthcare. The bad news is healthcare is done by the provinces, and then you got to figure out each province's like enrollment process and shit.
Right. That sounds miserable. I'm not into it. Well, how'd you get started making music? Like, what led you to that? Because I mean, I you know, as far as like how I knew you basically was just that it was like, I mean, for years now on Facebook, it was like, you know, popping up the suggestions of like, do you want to be friends with Gaby Gustafson? And I'm like, I don't know that person. I don't want to just, I don't want to just like go, you know, making overtures. And then it was like, finally, it was just like, okay, like I understand now who you are. So, but it seems like the Eva X sort of recording moniker and everything is kind of a fairly recent development from my perception. That could be wrong, but
I mean, you're not entirely wrong. I started putting the project together kind of 2018-ish. It debuted in 2019. And that was my first crack at an actual music project of my own. I'd done like some pop rock, a bit of metal, ensemble.
Right.
Had a brief turn in like modeling burlesque and shit. And I think the first EP kind of landed. It did all right, but over 2020 and 2021, I kind of went back into a producer, picked apart what had worked on the EP and what hadn't. And started turning out the new shit, and the new shit did way better.
Right.
So I think it kind of, I don't think you're wrong to be like, hey, this is kind of a recent development, because I think people kind of outside a relatively small corner of the scene paying attention to Eva X is a pretty recent development, if we're being honest.
Right, sure. And I mean, plus it's, I don't know, I feel like we've also sort of just reached that point now of like where, you know, if Ilker or Ken or anybody starts like talking about dropping names, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so out of touch. Like, because I mean, that's just the reality of it, is that there are bubbles that are, you know, varying sizes that like we're not in. And like, so I mean, you know, visibility is sort of everything. And I guess it was just more of a like, oh, hey, that person that Facebook was trying to force me to be friends with is making music. So let's go check it out and see what's going on. And it just kind of unfolded from there. So I guess, I mean, it was just more like your visibility is kind of increased, I guess. But
yeah, so, that's probably the best way to put it. I got my shit together both musically and marketing wise.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then, so musically, like, well, is there anything in particular that you just kind of set out to try and aspire to? What was your spark? What led you to this?
Okay, I had a lot of different sparks. Like, sure. I've been singing my whole life in various things. And then I kind of came through, I was a late bloomer on all this. I kind of came through university, like, really want to properly make music. One, I haven't really...
Void Signal, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Just Void Signal is a haven for late bloomers. So you are in very good company. Everybody who's been on the show, well, I don't want to speak for everybody, but at least me, I'm a very late bloomer. And so...
I'm a hella late bloomer, especially, like, I got to university, like, I would like to do this.
Right.
So I sort of invited myself into my brother's pop rock band.
Sure.
So I'm like, you need a singer, right? He's like, no, but I need a rhythm guitar player. So I learned to play guitar.
Right.
I'm not very good.
Sure.
But I can play a riff.
Sure.
And I'm going to brag slightly. If you've heard my remix, my song The Soft World, or my remix for Spank the Nun, that's actually my guitar work.
Gotcha. Okay. So
that's a small flex moment there. Okay. And so I was in that band for a few years. We broke up because I was starting to get more into keyboards and that. I also got into electronic music really late, mostly because this one time I decided that paying $25 to see a DJ set by Juno Reactor would be really cool. And the opener was like Sphere. Scott Fox doing his Singularity set. I think it was like one of the first times he'd done it. Actually, it turned out later.
Right.
And anyway, it was really cool. I was totally intimidated by Scott Fox, which is really funny in hindsight. So Scott I lived until pretty recently in Calgary. Scott lived in Edmonton. So he's actually only like 3 hours north of where I used to live. So like I was running into him a couple of times a year at scene events, and it turns out he's the nicest guy ever.
Right, sure.
Yeah.
Well, that works out.
Worked great.
Well, I mean, it's cool, but I mean, like, I'm still just sort of curious, like, what do you want to accomplish with it? I mean, this is a huge question. Like, it's certainly, it's not anything I'm expecting you to have an answer for. Just, I don't know. I'd love to just sort of, I don't know, dive deep and just like find out, like, is there one thing that you just hope to accomplish with the things that you're making, aside from just, I mean, everybody wants to just like write a banger that sounds good in a club. Cool. I'm all for that. But is there a higher purpose to what you're doing? I mean, I'm not trying to open too many crazy doors of like philosophical talk, but at least, sort of, what's the drive? What's the character? Character's action. What's Gaby's action?
Yeah, and my character is a lot of just like I could do that. I love performing. I love creating art and concepts in that, and it didn't really get the whole way through. The album that I'm shopping around now really started with a whole concept, and I have a bunch of like ideas. I really like creating like crazy big conceptual art. I want to have more of a visual component. And this is why it works out great that I have an in-house videographer, because then I get to just have like need to help make videos and stuff out of my laptop.
Yeah, and you directed one of your more recent videos, or all of them, maybe?
I did. And yeah, it was kind of funny because the way that happened is Eric was supposed to direct that video, but our scheduling got all fucked up, and then he wasn't. Lame. It wasn't really his fault. There was only so long Canada would let him stay,
right,
before he became a permanent resident. So anyway, he had to fly back for some reason, and I was running late. So I basically said, "Okay, send me a list of stuff to rent, and I guess I'll figure this out." And I did. I mean,
glad I had a happy ending instead of just like, yeah, it was screwed up forever. Or
we had to really rescue some of that footage because I didn't entirely know what I was doing and didn't entirely figure out stabilization, and also was terrified of accidentally wrecking the film store's gimbal because it literally failed in the middle of the shoot.
Ooh, wow.
So it wasn't. There was some bumps, but it worked out, and I think kind of there's a whole pattern of like, I am going to do this big, freaky, impossible thing. And then, I do it. I'm actually in the middle of like, oh fuck, what's next? Because I'm from Calgary, it's the home of Terminus Festival. And so getting to play as a Calgary band is a huge fucking deal.
Yeah.
Like, I showed up the first year, went behind the ears to Chris Hewitt, like, so, and he really nicely said, bro, you're not ready yet, get a few more years behind you, and like, we'll talk about it.
Sure.
And so I just got announced for that this year, and now I'm like, oh my god, I got to be in this huge festival that really helped induct me into industrial. I'm just like, so like, I guess I need some bigger plants now.
Right. I mean, I did see the lineup for Terminus this year. It's pretty fucking impressive. Like, I'm a little jealous, a little bitter that I won't be able to attend. It's pretty bold.
Yeah. I'm screaming internally and externally.
Yeah.
It's completely off the chain.
Yeah, you must be pretty excited to be able to, play amongst people who you regard as, I mean, you're kind of the fresh face on the lineup. Yeah. I mean, there has to be an element of like, feeling confident, I guess.
It feels like a lot, to be honest. Like, it's really exciting. It really, that gives me some serious performance nerves. I have the same performance nerves from Mechanismus. I'm on the same night as Moris Blak and ESA.
I mean,
and
after like seeing Brian in person, and seeing Moris Blak live like last weekend, yeah, I mean, it's a lot. Like, I would be nervous as fuck. Like I think there's something to sort of be said for, like, it was a very, I don't know, I don't want to, like, you know, sit here and like talk about how great Brian is or anything, but like he's pretty wonderful and his performance was really fucking good.
It's fucking great, and like I've only seen him on stream, and it has so much fucking energy. And I've seen Jamie a couple times ESA, and like again, it's just amazing high energy.
Yeah.
I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
I'm just like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm kind of freaking out a little.
Sure. I mean, you'll do great. You'll do wonderful. I have no doubt. I believe in you. So.
Thank you so much. You know, I am excited. I'm hoping. I'm really keen to show up, probably with, like, you know, a bodysuit and possibly some degree of flinging self across the stage, and just, it's going to be great.
Okay. As long as it's loud, and as long as you're into it.
It will be loud.
All right.
And it will be fun, and it will be, you know, it's going to be really cool.
Okay. All right, let's get to the good stuff. What kind of you and I have been talking about how you're a fucking huge geek. I mean, like, I thought I was a total geek, but I'm kind of rethinking it. Like, you're but like, I'm not sure where to even like start with some of this. Like, what are just some of the things that you just like absolutely love, just like get you fucking jazzed about stuff?
Oh man, so I'm a big fan of like open world RPGs. I'm playing Cyberpunk 2077 right now, finally.
Right.
I was really not keen to pick it up before I got my hands on a next gen console, and I lucked out a bit after the move, so I've been finally able to sit down with that. I really like the whole aesthetic of Cyberpunk very much. I'm really enjoying. Kind of, I just sometimes just wander around Night City like, man, this is fun.
Right. I haven't checked it out because, I don't know, for whatever reason, my interest in it always felt a little bit tempered. Like, there's no... And I couldn't give you a good reason for that because, like, it's checking all of the boxes. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, you know, sci-fi aesthetic and, you know, cyberpunk aesthetic and great soundtrack and all these sort of things. But my interest just remained so low in it. I don't know why. I just was like, oh, I'm going to float in my bubble and play not this game, I guess. And
yeah, I mean, I was like, yeah, why not? I've been looking at ages. I'm really into the aesthetic, and then I got a couple hours into it, like, really digging this.
Really? Okay. Maybe I'll just have to like pull the trigger on it on the next Steam sale or something and like give it a spin.
Yeah, do it up. I'm a pretty big gaming geek. I tend to go really deep into the franchises I love. I am a huge Mass Effect dork.
Okay. I mean, that's a good choice. I mean, I play a lot of video games, or at least I did until recently when I started getting super busy with stuff. But no, it's the same way for me. And Mass Effect is a great series. It's one that I've never finished because it was like in between playing the first and second one, it was like, oh, I'm gonna, you know, get the third one on PC, and I fired it up and everything. And it was like, what save file do you want to use, and what choices did you make? And I'm like, well, I don't remember any of these. So, you know, I was like, oh, I'm gonna start over, and this is prior to the like the remaster coming out. Yeah. So I was like, it was a little dated, and I was like, this is a big time investment that I again, it was just something that I just stepped away from, and always, you know, looked on as like great games came out and it looked fun, but I just sort of didn't reintroduce myself to it. What drew you to it? I'm just curious.
I liked the space opera-ness, the sci-fi aesthetic. I really kind of enjoyed settling into Shepard's character in that a lot as well. I ended up really getting into the whole world, the universe, the characters. I'm a bit of a sucker for that with Bioware RPGs. I have quite the collection of Dragon Age, Knights of the Old Republic, all of that out in my game collection.
Yeah.
I think I've had Knights of the Old Republic on like 3 different platforms now.
Oh, I love that game.
But, like, I yet to finish Knights of the Old Republic.
Really?
Because the starfighting is janky as hell.
No, it is. It is, and it's terrible, but it is good. Plus, Karth is pretty insufferable, but
Karth is a lot.
but I mean, Mass Effect, and speaking of Shepard, like that was the other thing too, is that like at the time I was playing through it as. Mass Effect, the first Mass Effect came out fucking forever ago now, it seems like, but I was playing through as a male character, but then after watching some videos of like Jennifer Hale doing like the female Shepard, I was like, I am missing out. Like it was really good, really good.
Yeah, I have no shame. A game immediately jumps up on my list of games to play if I have the option to play as a female protagonist. So Mass Effect went straight up, and obviously I went straight for FemShep. And yeah, Jennifer Hale is so good in that role. For
sure. And I understand that completely. I've been married for a long time, and so it was interesting. And my wife was a gamer as well, and so it was sort of interesting how like we sort of drifted towards RPGs because they do tend to have that option of what gender do you want to be? Like you're making your character from scratch. I was actually during my undergrad career, I was accepted to an academic conference. I was the only undergrad accepted, and I presented my research, 20-something page research paper on gender representation in video games. And it was all about, analyzing the impact of something like Mass Effect on, and things like that. Talking about option and women is the non-default. They're hidden in the options. You got to go find that. Mass Effect's a fantastic example. And I mean, it was the same story for my wife as well. Like, she was like, that looks great, but can you play a female? And it was like, I had that moment of just like, it was something I'd never really considered before, of just like, every game I fire up, like, the default is a man.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah,
it's such an ongoing thing.
Yeah. For sure.
And yeah, actually, that's how my husband got me playing Far Cry 6. Actually, he led with like, right, so there's vehicles and guns, and Gabby, you can play as a female character.
Right. Yeah.
I have branched out. I've played The Witcher 3 and Ghost of Tsushima and a few others. So it's not all that, but he does like sometimes get me hooked on games with leading in with, right, so option for female protagonist.
Right. And it makes sense to me. It's like reasonable, like, because I've after playing some games as a female protagonist, it's funny how much it can change a story, and really sort of expand on themes that I probably would have missed or not have seen any other way. But
Locked in, scars hiding under
Okay, so aside from Cyberpunk, like, what are there any other games that you're just like super into? Like, I tend to, the games I play and I get into, I also tend to just like nerd the fuck out over. So it's like I really love Darkest Dungeon. That game is just a masterpiece of art from start to finish. But
Ooh, speaking of art games, I nerd out every once in a while on Kentucky Zoo.
That was one of those I started and just never finished, but I definitely would agree with you. It looks wonderful.
It's like if Southern Gothic, Southern vaguely Eldritch Gothic was a video game.
Yeah.
With a lot of text, and I'm a huge reader, so it was just really perfect for me. I've played it 2 or 3 times now, and I really just get lost wandering around the Zero a lot. It's really such a cool game.
Right. Didn't they just do a re-release of it on like Xbox Game Pass or something too, right? Like,
yeah, they have it. I have it on a couple of different platforms. I have it for Xbox and for Nintendo Switch as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah.
So that is such a cool one.
I'll have to try and revisit it. Have you played Tainted Grail Conquest?
Oh, but now I'm curious.
Oh, it's like a weird mix of it's like you can play a female character. We'll start with that, and but it's like this super like grim, dark fantasy story of like wandering through the underworld, and you have to find all the lost villagers and redeem their souls, and everybody's out there just like suffering. You're just wandering this like sort of Norse aesthetic underworld. It's really interesting. There's a lot of voice acting in it, but there's a lot of text and sort of choose your own adventure-y kind of elements to it. And it's like deck building, which sounds kind of, but also mixed with like a roguelite. It's really like it's a game that the screenshots are gonna maybe seem boring or like not super exciting, but like it is 110% engaging. It is wonderful.
Now I'm really curious. Yeah, I've done a little bit of like deck building style gaming and a little bit of roguelike. I tried a couple of the Far Cry 6 DLC, and they were all kind of in that roguelike style.
Yeah.
So I'm curious now. Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And the soundtrack is next level good. Like it's not Heilung, but it sounds like it at times. Does that make sense?
Oh, I'm here for that.
Okay. Yeah.
Super love. Wardruna is one of my favorites for that style.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, absolutely. I love weird shit like that. It's great. But
oh yeah.
Well, aside from video games, like what else have you got going on in your life right now? What else are you like, excited about? I mean, aside from like the festivals and shit, we all
so many festivals. Yeah, I've been enjoying long walks in the woods. It's super cool. I basically live in, I believe the technical term is a temperate rainforest.
Right.
I'm about 30 minutes outside of Vancouver, BC, still kind of in the greater Vancouver area.
Sure.
But a bit further out, so I get to like walk in the woods now, and it's great. I've been nerding out on TV a bit. Like we've been starting to watch Letterkenny and work our way through Star Trek Discovery again some more. It's kind of weird. Like my life has been so disrupted the last couple of years that a lot of what I've had for nerding out has been whatever I can pack with me between Calgary and Austin, and now to a whole new place.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of moving.
It's been a lot, yeah. So it's been.
I did see the photos that you posted of the woods behind your house or whatever. Like, it looks lovely. I mean, Reno is sort of has some really nice forested areas up if you want to like go hiking up around like Tahoe and stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. We were just I was rambling about nature, and then we wound up there.
Nature's fucking beautiful, eh?
I mean,
yeah,
it is.
It's really cool. We live. Our building is basically sandwiched between that forest and the shoreline of the Burrard Inlet, which is kind of the main inlet in the Lower Mainland. So we can pretty much walk 10 minutes in either direction and be in Parkland. It's super cool.
Right. Gotcha. And how did you meet Eric? I'm just curious. I mean, like,
We met at Mechanismus, actually.
And truth be told, I will confess this, and it will remain in the episode. Eric and Adoration Destroyed is a name that I have seen many times, and I know exactly who he is, but I have never heard a single 2 seconds of music. You even sent me a link. You were like, here, check this out. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to. And then I immediately just like, I'm so sorry. I feel like such a piece of shit. But I just like, I was like, oh, I need to, get ready for my interview with Gaby Gustafson. I'll go listen to her stuff. And that's where it ended. So, yes, I'm sorry.
We can do a whole confession episode of industrial musicians
I'm into
whose
it.
names I've heard, who I know quite well, whose music I've never actually heard a second of. And it will be like personal confessions and embarrassment for us both off the top of my head, like IO, Comrades. There's a list.
Yeah.
I don't think I've heard Gothsicles not live in the past, like, 2 years, and I like them. It's just the world is busy and there's a lot of music. There is
a lot of music, and the world is busy. Like, I don't know, I never hold it against anybody if they're like, oh, I didn't get to whatever, because it's just like people have fucking lives and shit they gotta do. So
we're busy people. There's a lot going on.
Exactly, that's right. And no, I'm the same way. Like, there are people who I've shook their hand and I've been like, man, this person's fucking wonderful. But like, I'm not familiar with her music. I couldn't name a song. Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, I used to run into that in the metal world. Be like, you haven't heard Anthrax?
Right.
I'm like, bro, I'm busy.
Right.
Oh, speaking of things I can nerd out for years on. Obscure and semi-obscure European power metal.
Wow.
Want to talk like Finnish death metal? I'm good for that.
Okay, see, this is one of those subjects that I can definitely appreciate your geek nerdism on. I can't follow you to the depths that you can go, I'm sure, but there was a band. This is as obscure as I can go. There was a band that released a record in 1995 from Sweden, maybe sounds right, called Storm, and it was called like, oh fuck, the name of the record's like Nordavind or something like that. And it was like, I mean, this is a long fucking time ago, but it was a good record. But anyway, that's
Sweden, 1995. That's pretty obscure.
Yeah, pretty obscure. That's all I got. And if I were to start like going down this path, like where would you place me feet first?
So, Children of Bodom is obviously kind of the big classic of Finnish melodic death metal.
Okay.
Like that's.
I do know that name.
Yeah, of course.
I think I've even heard a couple of songs. Probably. Like
I think they've had a couple, even maybe in Guitar Hero, but it's been a few years.
Yeah.
My personal favorites in that scene are Insomnium and Amorphis. Omnium Gatherum is right up there for me as well. Completely love them. I think Bellacourse Australians. That might be the wrong country, but kind of similar vibes.
Right.
And then you start getting into the adjacent genres in black metal. I love Rotting Christ.
I see. My taste in metal is like very specific, and like when I say specific, I'm probably not really all that much of a metalhead, but it's like there are bands that are transcendent enough to catch my interest, and Behemoth is like, I'm not a black metal fan, but Behemoth, and like, I don't know, there's maybe a Venom song somewhere that I could kind of get down on, maybe. But
okay, but if you like Behemoth, I think you should give Rotting Christ a go for a song. It has a lot of that, like, it's very grand and orchestral. It's not like two dudes and a dead pig in a basement.
Right. Yeah, okay.
And,
I'm
to be
into
honest,
that.
that's not my speed of black metal either. Like, I really like a lot
Oh,
of the
it's
stuff,
not?
like the push does. I mean, there's some good stuff out there in that vibe, but I really
Sure.
like a lot of the Doom Board Gear, symphonic black metal. That's much more my vibe.
Gotcha. Okay.
Septic Flesh are legit.
Okay, I will check it out. The last metal, I mean, I'm a big fan of like Amon Amarth and stuff.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah, and Entombed opened for them. I mean, like I had only ever heard like old Entombed, like the old like Wolverine Blues record or whatever it was, but they opened for Amon Amarth a few years ago in San Francisco, and just like were fucking amazing. It was so good.
Yeah, that was Entombed AD, right?
Yes.
Or was that? Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I know there's like kind of two Entombs, although it might be one Entombs now that Elga has passed.
Oh, yeah, that's right. There were two Entombed bands, but yeah, it was the one you mentioned.
Yeah, I saw them on that tour as well. It's good stuff.
Oh.
I think that was the one where Amon and Hearth had like the sword fighting dudes on stage.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That was a fantastic tour.
It was awesome.
I'm wearing the shirt from it right now, actually. Now that I just
right
realized,
on.
yeah, it was so good.
Yeah. So, fun fact: if you check the Raise Your Horns video, there's a brief crowd shot that was the one where they solicited all the fan stuff, and I don't know how I ended up arranging that, but I arranged basically a whole bunch of the Calgary metal scene at the time to be in that freaking shot. So I'm technically in an Amon Amarth video for like a second.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's pretty cool. Like, you might be the most famous person to ever come on this podcast. I mean, you were in an Amon Amarth video for like a second. Like that's pretty big.
I think technically I also ended up doing a fair bit of advertising for Banger TV. There's a shot that they use a lot of me crowd surfing at a 70,000 tons of metal.
Right.
And at one point I basically had to be publicly posting a couple times, yes, I've seen it, stop tagging me.
Right.
I was getting tagged like 5 times a day in this fucking thing. I'm like,
I mean, my brushes with fame have never resulted in anybody like tagging me in it or me being unaware of it. But I mean, I haven't had a ton of brushes with fame, really.
Yeah, I mostly have brushes with being really into elaborate costuming and occasional crowd surfing. So
right. My arm was in a local paper once when I was younger. I was shaking Jeb Bush's hand. He was running for governor of Florida at the time. That was it. My little 8-year-old, no, I was like maybe 11. My like 11-year-old hand is just in the corner. That's what I got.
Hey, it works.
I mean, aside from my podcast that I have, like, people come on, no big deal. Like, people who've been in Amon Amarth videos, like, step the fuck back. Like, so.
Such legends.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's all fun, eh?
Yeah, for sure.
And
go ahead.
yeah, like, I have this running thing with Eric. It's like, I'm not that Canadian. And then I catch myself like, it's all fun, eh? I'm like, I am.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a friend of mine, another Canadian, he lives in London with his family, and no, that's not it. Maybe it is. I don't remember. He's gonna fucking be pissed. But anyway, yeah, and he was the like first Canadian I'd ever really met, and we met like on an obscure video game website like 20 plus years ago. It was like a Twisted Metal fan site called Twisted Metal Alliance, and we met on there and like just have been friends ever since then. But oh man, I love making, I mean, like, it's probably a little offensive and I'm sure you've heard a million of them, but I love like just dragging him, like hitting him with like the dumbest lowbrow like jokes about Canada and being Canadian. Oh, it's so good.
A boot.
Yeah, and being like
I'm just like, to this day, I'm not 100% sure where in Canada they say a boot.
Right.
Because it's nowhere I've ever lived or visited for any length of time.
He'll say it every now and again, and it's adorable. But I mean, it's not mean, it's not malicious. Like, it's just stuff I think is funny. Like, he gets disconnected while we're playing a video game, and I'm like, oh, that moose-powered internet. Maybe you need to step it up, and all this kind of shit.
Moose through the moose through the cable could actually happen. Like,
yeah,
those things are like fucking cryptids. They're freaky.
He might have even told me the same thing. He might have been like, that could happen. It's like, because that's a very Canadian response. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that could happen. They're a moose. They're huge. They could fuck up an internet box in 2 seconds.
Moose can fuck up a car.
Yeah.
A big moose. They're scary shit.
I've heard that. My wife grew up in Alaska, and she was like, they're as big as houses, and it's not
they're like fucking 10 feet tall, and they're enormous, and they just don't care.
Yeah.
They're like, I grew up in Calgary is about an hour from Banff and Jasper National Park, so we've got some of the same wildlife.
Sure. And
like, I mean, black bears are, just, be sensible and you'll be fine. Grizzlies, kind of the same thing. It's like cougars and moose that are the freaky shit.
Right.
The bears are kind of like, they're manageable.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't really want to fuck with a bear if you can avoid it, but...
I mean, I definitely want to fuck with a bear. Like, I really do. Like, I think it would be fun to, like, have a bear to, like, pet and pal around with, and, like, they're cute, kind of. But... like, I am sorry. This is a random detour. Welcome to Void Signal. I have a friend here who I went to school with. Shout out to Log Mill. Logan Miller, he just, like, every time anything comes up about, like, oh, bears, he just, like, loses his shit about, like, don't touch bears, stay away from bears. You know how many bears die every year because of dumb tourists? And, like, he just loses his mind about it. And I'm like, I understand and I appreciate that. I don't want dumb tourists causing bears to get murdered either, obviously. But it's just become this, like, weird, it's wonderful. I love it. I love how emphatic he has become over, like, so now anytime bears come up, I'm like, don't touch those fucking bears. Keep your goddamn hands to yourself, Gaby Gustafson. Like, and it's like this, I've been trained now to spread bear awareness.
Yeah. Oh, I think it's like, I don't remember when I first learned bear awareness, but I was very young.
Right. I mean, you probably watched The Jungle Book and gained some degree of bear awareness.
I think it may have been before I watched The Jungle Book. My parents really liked the mountains, so we would go up to, like, Banff or Jasper a couple times a year, go hiking a bit, used to go camping.
Tell me about
I'm too fancy for camping now, but, like...
Yeah, totally understandable. Like, it's one of those things I have an interest in, and I'm like, sleeping on the ground, I don't know. Like, I get pretty pretentious about it, but how old were you when you saw your first bear? Have you ever seen a bear in real life? I guess we'll start with that.
Oh, yeah. Like,
okay.
I've seen a grizzly only once or twice. Black bears are much more common. I think I've seen like 5 or 6, probably more.
Right.
I think I was actually like 1 or 2 when I saw my first bear.
Wow.
We were in a town called Jasper for Thanksgiving, and it had gone up a tree on the lodge property where we were staying. And I was with my parents, and they're watching, like, the resort staff try to basically chase the army of tourists off this black bear. Black bears are not that big. They're kind of like, they're the size of a large dog, and they are really adorable.
See, that's why I want to fucking pet one. Like, this, like, there's... See, like, they're small enough I could, like, pick it up and, like, carry it around. Like, it would be fucking cute. It'd wrap its little arms around you. I'm sorry, Logan. Are you listening?
Logan.
Yeah, sorry, Logan.
Unfortunately, they're also, like, bears, and I'm pretty sure someone on that resort staff was just seeing lawsuits dancing in their eyes.
Oh, I'm sure.
lawsuits and terrible press and all that good shit. So, yeah. So I think I saw my first bear. Now I'm gonna have to go ask my mom how old I was when that happened, because I don't think I was more than like 3, maybe like 4 or 5 max. Very young.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, I've definitely been out like, we're going hiking. We're going hiking to another trail because there's a bear and her cubs right there.
Right. Okay.
So yeah, I've actually been on multiple outdoor trips that have been either last minute adjusted or entirely evacuated due to bear showing up.
Wow.
It happens.
I've never had that experience myself, where bear, we got to get out of here. There's bears. I
was on a school camping trip once that actually got, like, basically they packed everyone up and like phone chained the parents, because this was before cell phones were ubiquitous, to drive out an hour outside of Calgary and evacuate all the students because a bear had just wandered into the middle of the campsite.
Wow. And
they're like, oh crap, we have a bunch of middle schoolers here. Time to go.
Yeah. Wow. I have no bear stories. I don't think I've seen a bear in real life, but I mean, it was a long ass time ago in, like, Florida somewhere, like some kind of, like, maybe there's bears in Florida. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't actually, I don't fucking know. It was some weird thing. Okay. Like so in my child brain, I was like, I was actually 5 at the time, and I actually had a child's brain in my head, and it looked like a big Black Panther looking fucking thing. And then I mentioned that to somebody later on, who, like, completely lost their chill about, like, there's no Black Panthers in Florida, like, losing their fucking mind about it. And I'm like, okay, well, whatever, I don't care. I was a child. Like, this is the story.
Fuck, man, with the amount of, like, exotic animal sanctuaries and stuff in Florida, might have been.
Yeah, sure.
Someone tells me they see anything in the woods of Florida, and I'm like, I entirely believe it's Florida.
But it might have been a bear, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows?
That's as close as I can get. Yeah, no bear encounters. Cool. Well,
yeah.
I will go ahead and we've been talking for a bit. I will go ahead and ask you the last question of the podcast, which is, I mean, you kind of already answered it. I asked what you were kind of enjoying lately and that kind of a thing. But, is there anything in particular that you would say is you're just super excited about? You can't wait to get to it every day, like a film that struck a chord with you recently, or a song that you discovered that has you really excited, or anything like that. What kind of is floating around out there for you?
Man, what is floating around out there for me? Oh man, there's a bunch of little things. I've been, obviously playing Cyberpunk, which I mentioned. I've been really getting into that, especially the last couple of days after, this was right after Verboten Festival, so we've been kind of coming down a little from the fest and the moving. I'm going to be vague here, but I'm actually starting to put together, like, song references and stuff for what the next Eva X album will be. Starting to have some visual ideas, some thematic stuff, and I'm really, really excited about that, and that's really driving me to pull some cool stuff together.
Cool.
So that kind of exploring, listening to new things, checking out new stuff. I will say, been a lot of dark synth and hyper pop. I don't know if you know Christian Carver much at all, but he's put together some really cool playlists and then on Spotify, dark synth, dark pop, hyper pop, and it's just been a whole world of great sounds and cool ideas. So
I'm into it. I will have to look it up because I'm always looking for new music, of course. But the name sounds vaguely familiar, but I could be misremembering. I don't know. But
he's probably played drums in a band. He's played drums for any number of bands. I saw him play filling in for Grendel, and I think he's played for a whole ton of people. So yeah, probably. Yeah. heard the name bouncing around.
I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I wrote for Region long enough to, like, you know, I see names now and I'm just like, it's somewhere in there, somewhere in the archives.
Oh, you wrote for Region? Nice.
Yeah, I wrote for Region for about 7 years, actually.
Right on.
Good friends with Ilker still. I love that guy. He's great.
Ilker's awesome.
He really is. He's mellowed out, and I'm grateful. He was. It was quite an experience writing at Regen. We butted heads at times because it would be like I would get some dumb idea that I was super excited about and be like, "We need to put this on the front page of Regen right now," and he'd be like, "No," and I'm like, "You tyrant!" And then I'd lose my mind or whatever. But it was like I'd be over it the next day so that we could like, go move on to whatever. But it was fun. I'm thankful for it. But
nice, yeah. I used to music write for a bit as well. We might have to do a part 2 here because I think we've got like a few dozen more subjects that we could talk about.
For sure. You're welcome on Void Signal anytime, even if it's just like me hanging out with like another guest. Like, it's perfectly cool. You just have to let me know that you're interested. Like, and especially if you're like, it seems like you kind of work from home. I
do in fact work from home. It's awesome. Highly recommend.
Okay. I mean, that's kind of what that's what I'm trying to do, except I didn't have like a backup plan, like coding or anything like that. I was just sort of I've never really understood how to monetize like my skills, I guess. So it was like, call center work where I have to do like customer service and talk to people, and was delightful at the talking part, but that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for somebody to get people off the phone quickly. So they don't care if you're good at talking. Like, can you do this thing?
Yeah.
So it was a bit of a struggle to kind of figure out what to, how to make that into something. And that's kind of what led me to Regen, just because it was an opportunity to, do something in my part-time that may eventually pay off. And it has. I mean, honestly, Regen Magazine has helped open a lot of doors for me. So I'm eternally grateful to Ilker, and I'm really glad that I put my time in there. Because it was worth it. And it was one of those things that at the time I felt like it was meaningless. But now it's and now it has some weight to it. And, it's always like really cool to me to like interact with people who are in this scene or in this community and have them be able to, when I, give a name like, oh, Ilker or Regen, people are like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about because everybody knows what that is. That's weird to me, just because I've spent so much of my life sort of in a bubble of not going to, not living in places that did not have scenes, I guess.
Yeah, no, I know that feel. And it's funny you mentioned music room, because that was actually kind of going all the way back to the beginning here. One of the real final sparks for Eva X was I was actually writing for a heavy metal zine. Mm-hmm. And I was running the review section, which taught me a lot when it came time to do my own press, namely how slammed everyone is, which was just a good reality check to have going in.
Sure.
And it just also, I sat there thinking, like, I can hear where to go with this. I can hear, like, what would make this really, really cool. And I finally sat there like, you know what? Maybe I should just get over myself and write my own damn music finally.
Right.
And I did.
Wow. And now you're doing it. I mean, and I mean, that's the thing, is that, like, that is what I've discovered as well, is that you just have to fucking do it. You just have to, like, whatever it is, just apply your motherfucking self and just do that shit. Like,
just do it.
It's going to be shitty for what feels like forever, and then it will not be.
Yeah. I have no problems admitting that my first EP is like, I mean, it ain't bad for, barely any equipment and slightly less of a clue.
Right.
But it's got nothing on what I'm doing now.
Right. And
I'm just so happy that everything I keep putting out feels closer to being actually me finally. So it's just really exciting.
Good.
It's all right.
I mean, that has to be a wonderful feeling. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm sort of reaching a similar point in my life, just because, you know, here we go, late bloomers, woo, like. But it does feel that way. That sort of, you know, this is what it's like to, I don't know, feel confident. It's wonderful. So I'm glad that you've reached that point with your own works.
Yeah, I mean, ask me again in 2 years how I feel about the EP, and I suspect there will be a lot of things I wish I'd done differently. But I've been able to kind of have that even with the EP. I knew, like, you know, I put it out there, I did my best, and the next one will be better. Mm-hmm. So that's where we're at. And I feel like I made that happen, and I'm just... The album is in the kind of shopping and arranging of distribution phase right now, and I'm really excited to be able to kind of feel like...
I apologize. I have to interrupt you. I have to answer my door really quick. I will be right back.
No worries.
Sorry about that. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. No problem.
But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Please continue. I don't recall what we were discussing.
Sorry, no worries. I was enthusiastically rambling along on all the last few singles I've put out are part of a larger album that is done.
Right.
And is just in the final stages of shopping around, hopefully arranging distribution any day now.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am excited to share everything that I've been working on with just kind of the whole world and put it out there and then make a bunch of cool visual shit happen. I have a whole bunch of ideas for some of the tracks that don't have videos and visual content yet. And that's good stuff.
I'm excited. I'm excited for you. Like, you seem jazzed about it. So, like, and, you know, you seem very happy with what you're doing based on, you know, what I've seen. So, it's good. I'm glad. Well, just to sort of answer the question myself, I guess, has just been, I don't know, I've been enjoying the hell out of, like, feeling accepted, recognized, validated, I guess. Like, the podcast just turned 1 year old, and I've been working on putting together a playlist of my favorite songs from all of the people who have been guests or have, you know, done something to help support the podcast, and just all of my favorites. And it's like I'm looking through it and I'm like, this is a pretty impressive list. You know, I mean, I feel incredibly humbled to scroll through it and you know, count people on there as friends or people who, you know, believed in what I was doing enough to give me some of their time. So yeah, thank you. Speaking of which, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Like, we're all, like you said, everybody's very busy, everybody's very slammed, and I'm grateful for it. Like, you know, I do appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been a ton of fun. I really enjoyed it. Good.
I'm glad. Really, that means a lot to me. That's my favorite thing to hear. So, all right. Well, I will let you go. If you enjoyed this episode of Void Signal, you can visit voidsignal.net to make a small donation to the podcast. Even just $1 here and there helps. You can also find merchandise, stop by, buy a shirt, and help support the podcast. Otherwise, you can click all the social media buttons. Those help too, and I appreciate it. Thanks so much, and take care.